Hi, I'm Willie Bryson from Let's Go Fishing. That's my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and let's get going. Today I want to do an introduction for beginner fly tyers and where to get some materials and how to tie a couple of flies. So many people watch YouTube channels and you see them tying these beautiful masterpiece flies and think, that's just not me. It's too complicated. I don't understand it. I don't know where to get the materials. I don't know what to do. I'm going to make it really easy for you. I mean, I'm going to make it extremely easy for you. So, number one, I get my materials from all over the place. Yes, you still have to buy some feathers from, a tackle shop or, hackles from different places. But the majority of my materials come from craft stores or dollar stores. So here's one thing, a little piece of tinsel, or they become longer pieces, so that these are just a couple of short pieces of tinsel. I get these at the dollar store. Okay, you see them there and I just pick them up. Now here's more stuff, craft stores. Okay, a couple of boas. Now lovely purple boa, and it's got some tinsel in there for attraction. These can be used for tails or wings or whatever you want, and they're $1 a piece. They're not expensive. Now, I'm not exaggerating. This is where I get a lot of my stuff. So here again, Christmas tinsel. Okay, I think that was $1.50. You've got little boxes, and that comes off and it's just like this. You've got the silver, you've got the blue. If I keep digging, I've got green, I've got red. Dig some more. I've got some more red, but I've got gold. And these are so cheap. And then here's more red and more gold. And they're just wrapped around these square boxes. So that's where I get a lot of my stuff. It's very cheap, it's so usable, and fish love it. So let's get into tying some basic flies, and I'll take you right from the beginning, so I'll show you how simple it is to tie flies that catch fish. Alright, we're going to take our size 6 hook. We're going to take a gold bead for the head. Now, when you look at the beads, there's a bigger hole in one end than on the other, so you want to bring the hook through the smaller side first. Just like that. Okay, then we can mount it into our vise. Now this is the easiest fly ever to tie. It only takes a minute or two, and to be honest, it catches rainbow, it catches brown trout, it catches brook trout, sea trout. It catches a lot of different trout running up the streams. Very effective. So we're going to start with just our black thread, and to get it started, pull out a little bit of thread, and behind the bead just make several turns. Now it won't hold the bead in place there, but it just helps build it up, and then start working your way along the shank of the hook. When you get a few turns, just cut off the excess and wind it to about the start of where the barb is, or the bend. Okay, about there's good. And like I said, see, you can still see that bead is moving around, but we'll fix that in a minute. Nymphs don't usually have tails. I get that. but I'm just going to put on a few strands of tinsel. Christmas tinsel, that's it. Bought it at the dollar store, and I'm going to pinch a wee bit down here. I know you can't see it, but you'll see it in a second. Pinch it down there, and there you've got a few strands. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it here, pinch it between our fingers, and pull the thread down. Maybe do that a couple of times just to capture that tinsel. There we go. And then we're just going to work our way up to where the barb of the hook starts. Right about there. Okay. And there's her tail. Now I'll probably cut most of that off because I only want a few strands out. But that's it. Now I'm going to take a piece of tinsel, just like this. This should be long enough for one fly. But before I do that, because there's nothing on there and I want the tinsel to stick and not slide around, I'm just going to take a little bit of head cement or clear varnish, whatever you decide. I'd suggest clear varnish. It's a lot cheaper, but again, buy it at the dollar store. It's no big deal. It does exactly the same thing. It stops the thread from unraveling, and that's all it's supposed to do. It makes a nice clear head. So there we go. So I'm going to tie this in, and then just quickly bring the thread down to behind the neck, or the back of the bead. So start winding this round. It doesn't have to be real close together, but you want the body to be quite full. So 2 or 3 turns. Actually, what I'm going to do is take my pliers, because this is getting short, hook my pliers on there. It just makes it easier to finish off. There you go. Now to trap that there, pull it out, bring the thread in behind it, in behind the bead head. 3 turns will do it. Cut off the excess. Now you can leave it like that and it is absolutely perfect. Actually, I will leave it like that. So what I'm going to do, a few more turns just to lock that in. Now there's 2 ways to tie off your thread. The first one, and it's easier with bead head, is just twist it in a loop like that. Put it right behind the eye and just let it drop. And do that 3 times. And that's how you would tie off the head of any fly, whether there's a bead head or not. Now the second way, we'll pull that tight. The second way is just using a whip finish tool. It does exactly the same thing. So you just loop it around like that and behind the eye. 1, 2, 3. Pull that through and just tighten it up. And again, there you go. There's your Christmas tree fly. And it works really, really well. So I'm going to trim these off just a bit shorter. I just want a couple of little pieces sticking out there. And there you go. How easy is that? And you think it may not catch fish? Well, watch this. Fish on. There we go. There we go. Popped right out. Now with the Christmas tree fly, you can tie them all different kinds of colors. Be creative. I guess that one's green. It's got a tail on it and a hackle on it, but you don't have to. And you can make it black. You can make it purple. You can make it green, red, any color you want. Have 3 of each in your box and just experiment with them. The beaded head will take them down to the bottom so that it bounces off the rocks in the bottom where the fish are feeding. And trust me, you'll catch fish. So the next fly I'm going to tie is a salmon fly. And it's called a purple grape. Again, I'm just going to use a size 8 salmon fly hook. Now, this is even easier than the last fly we tied. So, slip your hook in. Tighten it up, and as we did before, with the black thread, just come round the eye of the hook and work away towards the back. Now if you've got a few turns in, you can trim the end piece off. Just bring it to about there at the start of the hook. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can either use flat tinsel or a roll of this fluorescent sparkly stuff. It'll do the same thing. All I want is a little silver body along this fly. So I'm going to cut a piece of tinsel off just to make it easier. I'm going to tie this in. For whatever reason, tinsel is always a little difficult to tie and it bends. So there, I've got a few turns at the top, and then I can wind this down to the beginning there, and then just start your tinsel so that it's touching and gives you a straight silver body. Bring it down to the front and then hold it up. Bring your thread into the back, same as with the other fly. About 3 turns will do it. That just locks the tinsel into place. And there you go. Now, I've got some strung marabou here, and I'm going to show you this one first. Now I'm going to take a couple of strands of the marabou, and this works really nice in the water. Yes, it does close up, but it moves around really well in the current. It opens up, it flashes, and it looks like another fish. Now during the fall, when there's a lot of leaves and gold and yellow colors, this stands out to the fish. So all this fly is that tied on. It's that easy. Now, in saying that, instead of buying the packet of the marabou feathers, as I showed you before, I got this boa for $1 or a couple of bucks. Now, if you can imagine taking a bunch of that and tying it on, you're going to get the same effect for a lot less money. You know, and it's got some tinsel in there which will highlight and work really well for getting the fish. So, since I've got these pulled out, here's what I'm going to do. They're very thick stems, so you want to go to the top of the thick stem and just bring it tight to the head of the fly or the head of the hook, and pinch your fingers, take a couple of times to get it down, and then just wind it. There we go. I'm going to cut this off. Pull it back, and pull back a bit of the front of the eye. And we're going to build a head. There you go. And that's just going to sit like that. And there's your purple grape. So obviously we have to tie this off. Like I said, what we can do is 3 of these loops. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Then I won't bother doing the whip finish. It's not necessary. I'm going to cut your thread off there. Then we're going to take some head cement or varnish. We're just going to put a little bubble on the top of that. That'll sink round and lock in your threads. Now if you're worried about getting some in the eye of the hook, you can just take a pin and clear it out. Just like that. There you go. There's your purple grape. Fantastic salmon fly, especially in the fall. If you're going to fish one of 2 flies in the fall, you either want the purple grape or you want the Mickey fin streamer style. That's my favorites. Okay, so the third fly we're going to tie is another simple nymph. Take a size 10 hook, and again a small beaded head. Lace it through the small hole. Take your black thread, and as before, start it right behind the beaded head. And start winding it up the shank a bit, and when you get a few turns, we'll trim that off. Work your way up to the back. And I'm just going to come around that bend a little bit. Now, I'm just going to take some of this yarn. It's olive in color. Cut a piece off. And tie it in at the end. So again, I want to make sure it's tied in just around that bend a little bit. Ties in the yarn, and then bring the thread back up to the front. And as before, just touch and turns. Going to bring this up to the front, and then we're going to go back a bit. Just want to build up the head so there's a bit of a taper. You can see the taper starting to form. There we go. So end it there. 3 turns to tie it in. Cut that off. A few turns behind the eye. Then either the whipped finish or the cast off the way we did it before. There you go. There's a nymph. And that nymph will catch flies. No doubt about it. It's caught many for me. It'll catch a lot for you as well. So don't worry about trying to be an artist at this. I tie ugly flies that catch fish. So these are 3 simple flies that you can catch trout and salmon. That's it. 95% of the time the fish are feeding on the bottom. I've caught a lot of fish on the bottom with a nymph, even while they're jumping and feeding from the top. So don't be discouraged about what you hear. If they're jumping, they're only in top, and if they're not jumping, then they're somewhere down below, depending on the temperature of the water. So play around with it, try different flies. Don't be scared to keep changing your flies, because someday they might like green, sometimes they might like yellow. So play around with it and catch fish. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, be kind, and tight lines.